Hi everybody, this is Dr. David Geyer. I'm an orthopedic surgeon and sports medicine specialist, and I provide commentary and education on injuries and injury treatment and injury prevention in sports and exercise so that athletes and active people and you can stay healthy and perform your best. Yesterday I was in clinic and I saw a kid, maybe 15, 16 years old, for I think it was a knee injury. Big muscular kid. And kind of in the context of telling the story, his mom, who was there, told me how he wanted to play football, but she was worried about concussions and all the news about the brain damage, and she didn't want that to happen to her son, so they decided to have him play another sport. And this decision of should I let my kids play football is really, it's a really big, complicated decision, and it's one that every family has to come to grips with. But they chose to handle the risk by not playing football. But so many kids want to play football, and parents want their kids to play football. So one of the ways that they look to keep their kids safe playing football is helmets. And one of the questions about football helmets is, do I need a big, fancy, high-tech helmet? Some of these helmets now cost $300, $400 or more. Would that help keep my child safe, keep him healthy, help him avoid concussions? Well, I talked to Mike Oliver. He is the executive director of NOCSE, which is the National Operating Committee for the Standards of Athletic Equipment. And what they do is they test not just football helmets, but really all types of protective equipment in sports, and they provide safety ratings. You may have seen these 5-star, 4-star, 3-star ratings. That's his organization, and they certify athletic equipment. And I asked him about this idea of how much football helmets and the fancier high-tech helmets can help you avoid getting a concussion. And he told me there's really a limit to how much helmets can help. Even with the fancy technologies, even technologies we don't have yet, he's concerned that we'll never be able to completely eliminate concussions. And he used the analogy of an egg, much like this egg I'm holding up here. And he says that you can wrap that egg in anything, in cotton, and put it around foam, or put a big plastic shell around it. But the problem is you could drop that egg, and with whatever the protective case you put it in, you may protect the egg and the egg shell from cracking. But the problem is you're going to have is that yolk within the shell. That yolk is going to get all scrambled, and that's much like the brain with these big hits in concussion. So real quickly, I want to share 5 points for young athletes, even up to the high school and college level, but parents and coaches, 5 points that you should keep in mind when it comes to football helmets and football safety. First, make sure that your helmet is in good condition. Mr. Oliver told me that they've run field studies and lab studies on these fancier helmets. And in the lab, some of these fancier high-tech helmets do a little bit better at withstanding impacts. But in terms of concussions suffered in the field, it doesn't seem to matter what brand of helmet you have, what model you have, and really how old the helmet is. If it's not a brand new helmet though, make sure that it's in good condition. The second point I would make is make sure that your child wears a helmet that fits him. Especially the smaller, younger kids, if the helmet's too big, his head may be sloshing around, and then you get some of the whiplash effects on the brain within the helmet. So make sure the helmet fits really well. Now, these last 3 points aren't specific to helmets specifically, but they can help in this idea of trying to limit concussions and limit the effects on the brain. And Mr. Oliver made this point really well. The third point is kids have to change the way that they play football. We know that some hits are unavoidable. The collisions at the front of the line, or at the line at the beginning of every play, and some of the tackles, you can't necessarily avoid that. But there are ways that you could potentially avoid leading with your head and really keep your head out of the play. And a lot of it is just taking some of the unnecessary aggression out of the game. The fourth point I would make, very, very important, is that if you're an athlete at any level, you have to tell people if you have any symptoms, if you might have even suffered a concussion. Maybe you're not sure, but something doesn't feel right. Maybe your head doesn't feel right, or you're in a fog, or blurry vision, or dizziness, or you feel sick to your stomach. Tell your coach, or if there's a doctor there, tell the doctor. or tell the athletic trainer and get examined, because the medical staff and the coaches have so much going on and there's so many players, they can't see everything. So bring it to somebody's attention. I know you want to stay in the game, you don't want to let your teammates down, but you can avoid a much worse injury trying to play through it. And the last thing I'd say, don't return to play too soon. We know that concussions can kind of be a slippery slope as you start to have it, especially if you haven't completely recovered. If that brain hasn't completely recovered, you go back to play, you take another blow, and you suffer a worse concussion, even if it's less impact. It gets to be one of these things, the symptoms last longer and longer, and the blows are less and less, but it's this downward slope where you have concussions easier and easier, and they're worse every time. So go to the doctor, either your doctor or better, like a neurologist. Get tested, make sure your brain has completely returned to normal before you go back to play. So those are my 5 points. I would love to hear from you. What do you think about helmet technology and the fancier helmets, or these other tips I shared about football safety? Go to my website, drdavidgeyer.com, and leave your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. If you like this video and want more videos like these on injuries, injury treatments, injury prevention in sports and exercise, subscribe to my channel and you'll get these videos every week. And I would be so grateful if you would share this video with your friends and help spread this message. Last thing, if you like more of this kind of information, sign up for my email list where I share resources on staying healthy and performing your best that I really only share by email. Go to my website and you can sign up for free. And last, thank you so much. I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you next time.